Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning. Thank you, Chairman, distinguished guests and participants. When I was first asked to participate in this seminar, I was asked to be a speaker, but I quickly told the organizer, no, I don't want to be a speaker, I want to be the moderator. Because I think to be the moderator will be an easier job. Because at this stage, I don't want to volunteer any more opinions. Now, this session is about becoming the world's top universities. I think the academics may be split in their opinion. So you are not agreeable to the topic and you don't agree with some of the ideas, don't blame me. The organizers closed it. But I think this is a very interesting topic to be discussed. I think the more we discuss this, I think the better higher education in this country will become. Because this means that we are not just looking at purely teaching and training, but we are also thinking about going forward to be more competitive, to be ranked and to be recognized globally. So I think it's a good idea to talk about this. The only thing that I observe about the panels that we have, although I must say that these are all very distinguished panel members, these are all Vice Chancellors and Presidents. The only thing I noticed that there is none from the public university. All the speakers here are all from the private. So it would have been good if you had brought one or two from the public university and see how they think about this subject.
Yes, we agree.
Yeah, so it's okay. But I was from the public university, and I will share one or two points what the public university Vice Chancellors will think. Now, when I was asked to chair this session, I quickly looked back at the Malaysian education blueprint. Again, what I'm going to tell you is from that. It is clearly spelled out that when they come up with the Malaysian education blueprint, they actually spell out what are the aspirations, what are the targets set in terms of ranking and so on. And I can recall it last night. It is written there that by 2025, the ministry or the government wants to see at least 2 in the top 100, and this is referring to QS ranking, and 4 in the top 200, and at least 1 in the top 25 of the Asian ranking. So targets are actually spelled out inside there. It's not me who said it, but it's inside there. The other very important thing mentioned in the Malaysian education blueprint is that the government is really hoping to see that the graduates produced from the universities, the employability goes up to about 80%, where currently it's now something like 70 or around about that. So both in terms of employability, in terms of position of universities, is clearly spelled out in the Malaysian education blueprint. Now this subject, I will leave it to the 4 speakers to discuss and debate. But I think it's very clear, the organizers has given 6 points to consider inside this sheet that is given to us. It's about what is university ranking, which ranking is important, what are the areas to be improved, what does it mean to be world-class universities, what are the issues and challenges in 2018, and the role of academic leadership going forward. Before I give it to them to discuss this issue, I think what has not been mentioned, and it was interesting, is Dr. Peter Ng mentioned about what nearly half of the private universities are insolvent already, and more having financial difficulties and so on. But 2 things have not been mentioned just now. And you must know that these are 2 things that were promised by the government in their manifesto. One, of course, is the PTPTN issue, the repayment issue. whereby the government promised that graduates will have to pay back only when their salary is 4,000 ringgit a month. Now, because of that, the monthly collection has dropped very, very significantly, and therefore, the PTPTN loan is under financial stress itself. I'm not so sure whether the government has a solution to this, but you see, the PTPTN loan has an impact on the health of the finances of the university. And the second point, which is also very important, the government promised that public education will be free. There will be no more fees charged. So these two has got very direct impact on finances and so on, which means in future the public will be demanding more places in public universities, and all of them has to be free. Okay, so whatever you say, you must have this in mind that actually, I think as we go forward, the financial challenges is going to be even more. It's not going to be much easier than before. Let me now introduce the speakers. I think it is in your program book, but the gentleman on the right is the Vice-Chancellor of University of Nottingham, Malaysia, Professor Ghauth. So I think he can bring perspective from the UK and so on, and how he's struggling to survive in Malaysia. This gentleman on my right, Professor Prof, he was from the University of Malaya, Faculty of Economics. He was there for about 16 years. He left and he's in the private sector for quite a long time. So he knows public and private. This is my good friend here, which I met for the first time today, Mr. Luan. He took over the Vice-Chancellor's job of the university I set up when I was busy. So good that I'm seeing him now, and I warned him of a few things, what he can expect from that job. And on my right is Professor Sulochana Nair, also from Economics Faculty. I think she's a much happier person today out there than when she was in Before I hand over, I will just say this, that the perspective of academics and students in a private university when it comes to pushing up for ranking, becoming top universities, is not necessarily the same as in the public university. Primarily because in the public university, they don't have to worry about money. They know that at the end of every month, when you push your ATM card into the machine, money will come out, right? But in the private university, that is never a guarantee. Okay? And secondly, I think every professor in the public university thinks they can be the Vice-Chancellor. So this is the difference. And I think that the private university, I think not many people want that job. Because every board meeting there will be questions about KPIs, achieve the student number, and so on and so on. But when I was a Vice-Chancellor, this question was not asked. So with that background, let me ask each and every one of the panel members to give their 8 minutes presentation. Prof, we'll start with you.
Actually, thank you. I'm doing fine in Malaysia, thank you. I mean, it's my institution, which might not be. I've been here 8 years and I love it, so thanks for your concern about me. I'd love to speak about lots of things, sort of the financial health of institutions, level playing field, autonomy, and all of those things, so feel free to talk to me later. I have lots of views on that. But what I want to talk about in this session is university rankings. And the first question that's posed in in our sheets is, are they important? And of course, yes, they are important. Everybody looks at them. I'm from the University of Nottingham. We're top 100, and every time it comes out, we sort of look at it and go, yeah, it doesn't really matter. Whatever happens, happens. But if we fall out the top 100, that would be a disaster for us. I mean, we would never say that publicly, but it would be. So that they are important. But the problem is, everyone decides what is important. If I went around all the institutions in this room and said, how are you doing in the rankings? They'd all come out with, we're top 10 in, and we'll put a load of verbs and adjectives together which sort of adds up to why they're top 10. We look at QS in Nottingham because we're top 100 in QS. We're not top 100 in times higher. We don't look at times higher. We don't quote times higher. So, we play that game. Yeah. So university rankings are important. They're important because everyone else looks at them and, you pick and cherry pick what you want to do. But of course, it is just a game. You can decide not to play the game. Some universities say we're not bothered about rankings, and that's fine. But the problem is everyone plays the game around you. If you look, everyone says, where are you in the rankings? And you either answer or you don't. But more importantly, the game goes on behind the scenes. So sometimes you don't even know that the game's being played. So you can opt out of the game, but that's a very dangerous game to play in itself. So the game's going to continue. I think the other thing to think about is, when you look at rankings, this is probably the important point I want to bring out. If it is a business, the rankings are driven by commercial organisations. So the two rankings that everyone sort of looks at mainly, the QS rankings and the Times Higher educational rankings. And they're driven by the business needs. They're money-making organisations, and they want to entice us into the game, and then once we're in that game, we can't get out. And all the time they're making money. And it's exactly the same as impact factors for journals. People quote impact factors and, I want to publish in this journal or that journal. And it's the publishers that are promoting those impact factors. It's not the academics that are particularly worried about the impact factors. They're worried because they're there. Similarly, we're worried about the rankings, QS and Times Higher rankings, because they're there. And once we've started playing that game, we can't get out of it. And it just keeps self-fulfilling prophecy, I suppose. The commercial organisations make more and more money out of that. And once they've got your data, they sell it back to you. So you can go on to Times Higher or QS or lots of other things, and you can pay them lots of money to get the data that everyone's given them to you. And you can go to QS, and you can say to QS, how can I improve my rankings? And they will perfectly happily sell you a consultancy service to tell you how to improve your rankings in their organisation, in their ranking method. So, it is a business, we have to recognise that. It's not under the control of the academic community, it's under the control of commercial organisations. And don't get me started on open access. Open access is just another money-making opportunity. I believe in open access, but the way it's implemented is totally wrong. Associated with that is fake and predatory journals. There's a whole raft of information out there and really driven by the publish or perish. If you don't publish, you don't get promoted. One way to publish is through fake and predatory journals, and that just makes money. And again, I could talk long about that. So just to give on some of the rankings, so QS and THES are the big ranking ones. One of those two is now brought out or bringing out an SDG index, Sustainable Development Goals Index. And Nottingham, my university, are deciding whether we should get involved in that. And we will, because we'll be dragged into it. And if we're not doing well on the SDG index, then we won't be considered a good university. But let's be clear that the organisations promoting that is doing it for commercial profit. They're not doing it for the good of the academic community. It's another way of collecting data, selling it back to you, and you competing to do well in their index. I just want to finish up by maybe talking a little bit about Malaysia. Tantri mentioned that in the blueprint, I think it was by 2015 actually, originally they wanted two universities in the top 100, and that got extended a little bit. And congratulations to UM who got into the top 100 recently. But one thing that's missing, I believe, in Malaysia with regard to rankings, is Malaysia already has universities in the top 100. Monash, I think, is 69 in the world. University of Nottingham is 72 in the world. And there's other institutions which are in the top 100. But that is never mentioned. So when we came into Malaysia in 2000, along with Monash, Malaysia then had 2 universities in the top 100. But that is never recognised by the government, by the ministries, by the academic community. When they talk about they want two universities in the top 100, they're already talking about the public universities and maybe the the private universities. So someone like UTP, they might recognise them if they go to the top 100. So it is frustrating for people like myself who have been here 8 years, who doesn't get recognised by the government, but we are here, we are a top 100 university. And if you look at social media, if you look at Facebook or LinkedIn, every time rankings come out that says, you know, the best top 50 in Malaysia, the best young universities in Malaysia, the actual universities, you'll see pages and pages of posts from ministers, director generals saying congratulations, etc., etc. I've never yet seen a post saying congratulations to the University of Nottingham or Southampton or RCSI, UCD, or even UTP from the government recognising the contribution that the private sector is playing in the ranking scheme in Malaysia. So, you know, it comes back, I think, to autonomy, level playing field, what Malaysia is trying to do with its educational sector. And I think we contribute a lot, and I think we can contribute more, but we'd love to have more input or more recognition from the government. So in summary, university rankings are a game. You're either in them or they're out, and everyone's in them. We have to recognise it's a business, but to change it is trying to turn 10 tankers around. We're not going to change that. If we want to, it would have to be a sustained effort from around the world, because universities such as MIT, Stanford, etc., they're quite happy to be in there because they're 1 and 2 and 3 in the world. is happy to be in there now, Nottingham's happy to be in there, if I'm honest. But actually, if we rewrote the script and started with a blank page, this is not how we would design university rankings. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. I actually counted how many times he said ranking is important. I think it's 6 times. So we can take it that he believes that ranking is important. But he was complaining that Monash, Nottingham and so on is not given the credit for being in the top 100. But I think the government is looking more like those are foreign universities based in Malaysia, but not your Malaysian campus. So thank you for that initial opening. Now, Prof, your turn.
Thank you, Tan Sri. I'd like to thank Kingsley Institute for inviting me to this forum. I'm not going to talk about ranking per se, but I'd like to talk about world-class universities. Now, when we think of world-class, at least in commercial products, we think of Apple, Huawei, SIA, Starbucks, Amazon, Samsung. These are household names, well known throughout the world. Their services, their products are regarded as very good, and they're able to command high prices. These companies are very innovative, ahead of the field, cutting edge in many aspects, and for the time being seem to remain forever. Of course, in education, we have similar household names, Harvard, Stanford, Cambridge, Oxford, Tokyo, Beijing, University of Malaya. Not worldwide yet. So, do we judge universities on the same criteria as companies, private companies producing goods and services? There's one thing I want to point out is, in the case of companies, they turn raw materials into fine products. Do world-class universities do the same thing? Do very mediocre students go into those universities and come out as great human resources? Or the students come out as great resources because they were already great students to begin with when they entered the university. So I think it is very important, therefore, to think what the role of the university should be. Now, when we think of top rank or world-class universities, we are talking of ranking by reputable agencies, not the self-proclaimed advertisements of many universities throughout the world. We see that very often. Okay, and these world-class universities have great reputation. They are great leaders in research and innovation, cutting-edge innovation and research. And they are great inspiration to their students, who in turn inspires lecturers and the teachers. World-class universities have no boundaries. They equip students to adapt for the future, not teaching students a particular skill. And to be a world-class university, you have to be good in many academic disciplines. But do they necessarily have to be good in every academic discipline that is being taught at the university? This is again something that we have to ponder. I think finally, a world-class university must have the capacity and the capability to respond to needs of the future. Not just present-day needs, but needs of the future. Because now we are talking of producing students for jobs that do not even exist now. In fact, they're saying that a large proportion of the jobs that exist now would disappear in the future. Now, how do we create the first world-class university or a first-class university? We have to look at the input and some very critical factors. Obviously, you have very good staff, teaching, researchers, service staff. You also need very good students, quality students who enter the university through competitive means, not just by an arbitrary diction of law. You also need internationalization of students as well as staff. The other input, of course, is resources, and Dr. Peter has already talked about funding and endowments. There are very few universities which have huge war chests to do what they want to do. And in the case of Malaysia, I must say, private universities are even more limited in their capability to have this big war chest to do what they want to do. Because to be a good university, you must provide great facilities, not just staff, facilities for laboratory experiments, to bring in the latest technology, and even to ensure great recreational facilities for staff and students. And if you go to companies now like Google, Apple, you find that everything is provided for, not just in terms of salary and work, but even to their psychological and physiological needs. The company provides everything. So the great university must be able to provide such facilities to both staff and students. And third input, of course, is the environment. There's an external environment. Do we have a supportive regulatory framework? This is very important because there are lots of constraints that can be put on the universities because of regulatory impediments. In Malaysia, of course, we have MOE, MQA. It can be very frustrating because of this overarching arbitrary hours of these two organizations. I will give you an example. I spent 2 years pushing documents back and forth with the agency because we were going to introduce a degree called Masters in Human Talent Management. Yes, Human Talent Management. And the reply was, there's no such discipline. We only approve human resource management. I said, the world's big companies have actually changed the name of their department to frame people and resources in a different way. And we want to do the same. We want to frame our staff's thinking in a different way, that they are managing human talent. We want to train the students to say that people who work in your company are talent, not just personnel, which used to be a favorite word, personnel management. But MBA says no, there's no such discipline, you can't do such a degree. So back and forth for 2 over years until I surrendered. I said, okay, give me whatever name you want to give and I will accept. And they gave me the name and I accepted. That's it. But that's the problem with the regulatory environment. So the universities must have autonomy, must be allowed to experiment, must be able to do things which are not commonly done, so that we will be able to be a little bit more innovative. If any deviation from the standard is not allowed, then it is not going to be very productive for the university. I would like to touch on academic freedom because I think that is also very important in many areas of academic life. Okay? The university must have a culture of excellence, strategic vision, and great leadership. So these are some of the things which are considered to be very critical inputs into the university to enable them to become very great. Now finally, I would like to touch on, do we have world-class universities in Malaysia? Yes. Well, given the factors which I consider to be critical inputs, I would say we will have a long way to go. Now, being a political scientist by training, I would like to point out the elephant in the room. Because, unfortunately, we look at everything through 2 things. Through 2 lenses in our glasses, race and religion. And if everything is going to be done through the lenses of race and religion, there will be a lot of constraints. I'm not saying that everything can be overturned overnight, or everything should be overturned overnight. But I think there must be incremental steps in the right direction. If you don't move in the right direction, there's only one way to go, that is the wrong direction. So I would like to say, whether we can have world-class universities in Malaysia or not, we just have to be very objective in looking at the factors that will make up or contribute towards building the world-class university. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Prof mentioned many more factors about world-class universities. He himself defined it as world-class. In short, he said there must be quality staff, quality students, there must be internalization, there must be good resources, facilities. He mentioned problem with the regulators, in particular, it must be M2A. He was very polite not to mention it. And he was trying to get his Masters of Human Talent Management through. Prof has a solution to this. We must tell the mandate that the future Minister of Education, the CEO of M2A, must be somebody who has run a private university. Because the problem now, a lot of people running all these quality agencies and so on are professors from the public university, isn't that right? So one solution is to bring those people from the private, and I think there will be a revolution. That's one thing. And he mentioned about whether we have world-class university or not. Well, Malaysian education blueprint has defined it as there is. Because he mentioned QS all the time there, and we have M of course, and we also have UKM, UPN and so on there, by that definition. So these are the points mentioned by our good professor here, and also make one very good point. You see, the public university will always get the cream of the students, like in UM, but the private universities pick up the rest, which is not among the top creams. And of course, the private university does a good job of bringing these people who are not as they is students to become successful professionals and so on. So in that sense, the private university students, and I believe the private university students, especially from some of the good private universities, are very employable and so on. So they have done a great job there.
Yes. Sorry, Prof, just one quick correction. I don't think it is right to say that the private universities do not get good students. We get a wide range of students from the bottom, I mean, to be very honest, who qualify, who make the minimum qualification, to people with straight A's.
Sure. Yeah, but I was referring to a point, for example, the faculty of medicine UM, anyone who wants to get into the MBBS program must get 4 out of 4. For example, I know this for a fact. Those who want to do engineering must get 3.85 out of 4. Anything below that, you won't be accepted in life. But whereas in the private university, you can get lower than that. I will not take more time, sir. Your turn.
Thank you, that's very Chairman. I want to organize my thoughts in 3 categories. I think it's important to ask ourselves whether we need to be a world-class university. In doing so, I thought I would like to ask the audience here, how many of you are in the universities, or working or studying? Well, not as many as I would have expected, but anyway, okay. So, President Chair, if I may, I'd like to organize my thoughts into 3 categories. The 3 categories would be to talk about the good about the ranking and the good about being a world-class university. Second category will be the bad things about being and the last one will be the ugly one. So it's back to the Clint Eastwood, the good, bad, and ugly. Okay. Let's talk about the good ones. Okay. The good ones will be if you are a world-class university, obviously you are an exclusive group of universities, which means that exclusivity is what you want. You are a Lexus, in the automobile. You are the IUMW. You are exclusive. You are confined yourself to the top 5% of the world's population, which means that you do not have a say over the remaining 95% of the world's population. That's what I'm saying here. Okay. Secondly, in terms of employment in the dog-eat-dog world, the one which comes from the Ivy League or the top 10 universities win the race. Not necessarily to win all, but high probability chance that the employment agency or the top employers will glance at your resume first and put the rest at the bottom of the heaps. That's the advantage of it. I speak from experience because with my LSE qualification, I tend to get to places without the employer even asking me, how did I get it? Its relevance. Many people think that if you are in the top 100, you are very relevant. That's not true. Because some of the worst employees I come across are actually from the top 10 universities. They are arrogant, they know next to nothing, they can't even compete against people from the School of Hard Knocks. So this is the good answer. And of course, brand. If you say you are from the Harvard, if you say you are from Stanford, you are obviously ahead of the game. But how many of us are there? If I ever ask the audience, how many are you from the top 10 universities of the world? I'll be surprised if I could see a show of hands of more than 10. Perhaps not. Okay, so we don't speak for them, right? It is competitive, and not only that, it is very competitive. Once you get there, you pass through all the tests, you get through that, you probably will work for the top 10 investor bank. And more importantly, what's in your pocket? You'll probably be earning 25,000 ringgit in your first pay jacket at the age of 21. And by the time you're 25, you'll be a millionaire, and you'll be spending other people's money, and you probably don't know what to do with your life because you spend 20 days a day, working day and night, making more and more money, and probably end yourself with all the material things in the world. So those are good things about being part of a world-class university. But from the world-class university, then we move on to what is it bad about being this? Bad thing is that it is if you aspire to be a world class, then the bad thing about it is that you miss the big picture of being inclusive. University tend to say that we want to provide the society and people access to education, and then we put in the artificial barriers. You say that you're not good enough, you don't have the CGPA, you don't have this, you don't have that, you're not even good looking, you can't get into my universities. Too bad. And in Malaysia it's worse. It depends on which part of the kampung you come from. You probably don't fit in there. So that's the bad thing about it. It's costly. For outbound students going to the top class university, be prepared. Your parents may have to cough up. Easily, in terms of Malaysian ringgit, $500,000 upwards. 15,000 for an arts course in British top university these days, £15,000. Study medical, easy 25,000. You decide to go to Penang, maybe half of it, you still got to pay. Yeah, but still it is. A world-class university doesn't solve the world problem. In fact, it made it worse. Simply made it worse because it increases the income, it widens the social equity. It is not the people that you go and look for to solve the world problem of income inequality, social deprivation, poverty in the worst places, and they claim they have the answers to it. Actually, they have claims they have the answers to all the investors' banks, rather than to the world's social problems. The recent financial crisis from the 90s up to the most recent one are committed by people from the top universities. So we then question the ethical aspects of what do they train their people. Of course, the university will disclaim that. But mind you, the last 15 years, you've seen the top universities have included the ethics discipline into their MBAs and so on and so forth. But does that make their graduates any more ethical than their predecessors? I don't know, So, on the other hand, in Malaysia, I want to console most of us to say that we don't really need to be a world-class university. Look at some of the most successful ones here. UIPM is one classic example. I know Tan Sri Ashad very well. He started this concept in the early days of ITM and now become UIPM. They are probably the largest one. Social inclusivity was what they aspired for, particularly for the ethnic Malay groups and so on. But one good thing about the UIPM aspiration was that they include a lot of professional programs in there, which I thought was one of the far-sighted policies they had today, and working with a lot of global professional bodies as one example. The other one is, of course, TAR College. TAR College has a lot of support from people. Today they become used to college, but they have provided the access to education for people who are not able to go to public university, of which Tan Sri Ghauth was one of them. I have a lot of friends who don't get to the University of Malaya, but did manage to find good education from but not necessarily today. Many of them are probably very, very well endowed and find good employment. The ugly side of it is that if you want to aspire to a top class, you don't want to aspire, you don't really need to spend so much, because ranking costs money, as Graham just said, and it also invites a lot of temptation. I have heard a lot of allegations of corruption, even within the ranking, where some very enthusiastic university would be prepared to even pay to get their rankings up by 2 notches. Last but not least, it's more important is that on governance and standards. Those things, if we get it right, I think my answer to that is that we can still do well and provide the sort of social aspirations for a lot of people, providing a lot of opportunities for young people to acquire education. In short, I've been an employer myself. I've seen some of my best people who work with me, who didn't come from top universities, who have turned out to be fine jewels in their responsible, ethical, and very high performing. They are really, really great staff and the pride and joy of the nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Tay. Tay brings a different perspective to this whole topic. He gives the good and the bad side of world ranking. First thing that struck my attention is the fact that very few people can get into the top universities, and that many of the top universities do not solve the world's problem. But actually those who are in the lesser known universities, they are the one who crafts the whole employment market, and they are the one who solve our problem, who get things going. And he mentioned two very interesting institutions, which is IUMW and TAC College. This is obviously not highly ranked in this country or even overseas. So it is not necessarily something that we must all go for, you know. So thank you for that point. But I must add something here in defense of the good universities there. This is about 6 months ago, where a group of Chinese sponsors, they met me and they want to get me linked to UM, and they told me that they want to approach the UM management because they have quite a number of PhD candidates to be sent to UM. I said, why UM? Because we have so many other research universities. But then they gave me a piece of paper because UM is listed here. And when I saw that, it's a listing of the top 200 universities in the world. So in other words, UM has given some value to the whole of Malaysia. That means there's some quality there. And secondly, also you must know that UM is the highest rank in the whole Islamic world, you know that also. Okay. And how do we do that? Because of the ranking also So that has been good for our country. But nevertheless, you mentioned a very important point, and also the point that a lot of crooks actually come from the top universities also. That I think is important to remember. Prof, your turn.
Thank you, Tan Sri, for giving me the opportunity to be the last speaker, so I have the last word. And for me, it's very awkward sitting here on the same panel with Tan Sri Ghauth, because he was the Vice Chancellor when I was in UM, and he was brought into UM to improve UM's rankings. So, and what I'm going to say maybe just change his perspective now. Okay, first of all, and of course all the other members of the panel have said everything, so I've actually got nothing much to say, but nevertheless I will have to say something. First of all, every university wants to become world class. But guys, what's the real reality of it? And we all can have fantastic ambitions, but can we actually achieve those ambitions? And universities that had long histories have very good chances of becoming of attaining this ambition of becoming world class, and especially when funding comes from the government, or they've got very strong alumni who contribute huge sums of money to their alma mater. Okay, so what are the challenges, what are the issues that universities face if they want to become world class? The first thing is that you need serious money. And where is that money going to come from? And especially coming from private university, you always have to think of the opportunity cost of your resources. Are you going to put that money into rankings or trying to become world class, or are you going to focus on other things? That's the first point that I want to make. Secondly, you have to provide an intimate and intensive learning environment for students so that they can really engage with academic stuff. That's not a bad thing. I think most universities would like to do that. And thirdly, and most importantly, a world-class university must be genuinely international, both in terms of student fraternity as well as teaching faculty. Because if you want to become world-class, you also have to have world-class people in the university. And very often, if you're just looking within the country, you cannot achieve that ambition. So I don't want to go through what the others have said, but more importantly, what are the common pitfalls or errors that universities and countries make when they try to become world-class? First of all, they lose sight of their core mission. What was the core mission of setting up that university? And as the universities grow in size and numbers, the risk of academic drift increases at the same time. That means you lose your vision of why you actually set up. Secondly, the larger enrollments in universities means that you have demands of financial and human resources. And this can be healthy as long as the university can maintain its core values. And and the key elements, and also with regards to the key elements of comparative advantage. Third, unfortunately, many institutions, in their quest to become world-class, lose sight of their core mission. And this can lead to financial stress for the institution and imbalances in the overall tertiary systems in which the university operates. And also universities that have been good at some programs suddenly want to offer all programs to join the ranks of world-class universities. And another point is that universities tend to become complacent. When they are in the quest for becoming world-class, sometimes they also become complacent, and when universities become complacent, it is a recipe for mediocrity as well as failure. And another point, especially in the context of private universities, is that there may be no plans for orderly succession. For example, very many new and private universities were set up with dynamic leaders with very great visions and foresight of the way education should be going. But very often there are not clear succession plans, and this creates another set of issues. What are the other challenges to establishing world-class universities that a university that wants to become world-class is likely to face? First is lack of institutional autonomy. Kong was talking about his frustrations. We all share the frustrations. He said, I look happier. Today I'm in a happy mood, but there are times when I look back, get very, very frustrated, having to deal with various institutions that are in our way, and we have to answer the students as well. They cannot see the reason. So the lack of institutional autonomy. The second one is lack of academic freedom. That is another barrier in the way of universities that want to become world-class. Thirdly, academic corruption. Now we are hearing of so many cases and issues of academic corruption and corruption within even the world-class universities. Now we come to the other topic that has been raised and also talked about by the first speaker, and I'm glad that you said that it's a game, that if you start playing it, you can't get out of it. Of course, ranking is a game, and there are different kinds of ranking. Nowadays, we want to rank everything, and when you want to rank everything, including to the best pizza or the best beaches, the best hotels, everything gets ranked. And when everything gets ranked, then even the things that shouldn't be ranked are also ranked. Okay, that's one point. A second point is that there is a ranking mania that's going around. People are crazy. They go crazy about ranking. And if you don't want to play the game, they think something's wrong with you. And of course, there are also there are official state-sponsored rankings as well as unofficial rankings. And THES and QS are all unofficial rankings. But that's what universities are subscribing to. And my question that I want to ask is, are rankings a measure of quality? That question, whether rankings are a measure of quality or not. And also, the question is that the ranking exercise puts a lot of stress on universities, and there are many universities who don't want to subscribe to ranking. Think of us as whatever you want to think of us, and I think there is an alternative to ranking, that is rating. Where all, and I think we have got a fairly good rating system in Malaysia called Setara, and many of the universities are in the Setara ranking. I think Setara and MyQuest, I think, MyQuest or something else, for colleges. And I think a lot of universities are in that. So everybody's got a chance of getting a star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star, or whatever star you want to have. And also, what should universities be doing if they're not interested in ranking? I have no quarrels with universities who want to pursue excellence. I think that's very important. Quality is very important, as well as the quality, as well as publications. I have no quarrels with Tansi on publications and publication in the highest ranked journals. I think that's very good for academics. But it doesn't mean that you have to be ranked to publish in these journals. Okay, you don't have to be ranked, you can still publish in those ISI journals or whatever journals. If your article school journal takes it, it doesn't look and say whether your university is in QS or THS. It doesn't. So you can be a good academic without the ranking. So the rating may be a better option, And with, of course, Setara has got its own flaws, but I think it can be improved so that our universities can actually benefit from that rating exercise rather than a ranking exercise. And another point is that for students, do you want, as it was mentioned earlier, not everybody can get into a university that is ranked or in the high, whatever. And I remember, she also mentioned that both Kong and I came from the Faculty of Economics. We have had professors and lecturers who went to very, very high-ranked universities, but nobody knows of them because after that they just sat on their laurels and said, we went to Stanford, we went to Oxford, we went here, there, everywhere, but they never did anything of that. So nobody cares and nobody knows about them, even though they went to those ranked universities. So it's easy to sit on your laurels for a little while. And also, for a student, okay, what is important for a student? Do you want to go to a university that's ranked, or do you want to do a course that you love? And which university provides the course that you want? And which university will help you become a better human being, a better citizen with the values and ethics? And also, the thing is, you can go to a highly ranked university. It's not a guarantee that if you're coming from a highly ranked university, you'll get a job. Because when you go for an interview, as you mentioned, there's so many other traits. Because everybody comes with the same degree, same set of qualifications. But it's the other things that the employer looks for. So if you are from not a very highly ranked university, but if you have all the other qualities that the employer needs, the chances are that the employer will forget about the highly ranked university graduate because he or she may be a nerd of some sort or whatever. I'm not saying all nerds go to highly ranked universities, I'm not saying that. But the thing is, you may not have the other skills that the organization needs. So employable graduates come with different kinds of skills. And so for the student, what is the student experience? What can the students do? What do the students learn? Do they have a healthy academic, healthy faculty to deal with? And on that note, I think I will just stop talking, otherwise I'll go on and stand between you and your lunch. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Sulochana. Basically, Prof. Sulo has gone deeper into many more issues where she's pointing out the dangers of actually being too obsessed in ranking, and because you may lose sight of your mission, vision, and the fact that you may not realize that you may not have the necessary tools to compete in this. So some universities may have to choose not to be ranked but rather rated highly, which will also spell out the quality of the institution and so on. Because she pointed out, again, like what others have said, that actually if you want to go into ranking, you need a lot of money and you need a lot of resources, which not all institutions have that. By the way, I just want to also point out a very important point here. Here we have all 4 speakers from the private institutions. You know that the public universities are facing very serious financial problems too today. They are facing a lot of problems financially. And really, I feel grateful to God that I'm not a Vice Chancellor today. Because the Vice Chancellors are really, you know, when there's no money, everything becomes a problem, right? When there's a lot of money, even problems doesn't become a problem, right? Everybody is praising you. So, what does this mean? I think it is possible that one day, a private university, the one that actually goes through all these challenges and manage all these challenges, may become the top in Malaysia. I will not be surprised. I don't know which university that is going to be, but it is possible that if the public universities continues to have these problems and constraints and politics, that a private university may come out to be the best in Malaysia and so on. I think it is possible. And certainly, you know, I'm in some boards, private university board and so on, they are really into ranking, I must say. You know, but if you go into a public university board, not everybody thinks that ranking is important. And the Vice Chancellor will be very tired trying to say why ranking is important, you know, because not everybody will agree with that. Okay, part of my job when I was a VC is actually to have all the heartache and all the complaints, and at the end of the day, you'll only be able to do 1 or 2 things that you think is good for the university because you find a lot of the professors will not agree with what you want to do anyway. So anyway, that's behind me, that's okay. Now, we have to open up the question and answer. I'm reminded that we have to stop by 12:55.
Among these, because they are sacred, sacred. So, and then I remember the story of 1,000 years ago about Hercules and his teacher, where Hercules, go through all the hardship and challenge and obstacle to find and learn from his teacher, the one with horn and good leg. Okay, but nowadays I think if Hercules was born in this year, in this era, I think the teacher with the horn and the goat leg will go and search for Hercules.
Excuse me, sir. Because of time constraint, can you proceed directly with the question? Thank you.
Okay. And my question is, after heard about the panelists' opinion about the ranking, I would like to ask Prof. Graham Kendall, considering the financial sustainability, the marketing, the quality, do you think ranking is important? Because your answer may motivate and may demotivate. Only one, no grey, black or white. Thank you. Important or not important?
So do I think ranking's important? Yes or no, black or white?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because there's a university, which has impact not world-class university, not just impact in its region, but also in various parts of the world. But it is ranked 800 QS rank, 800 to 1,000.
Okay, sir, we don't have time, so we go to the next question.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the answer is yes.
Thank you, Professor Graham Bell. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir, please.
Hello again. I'm Khalid. I'm from Harriet Ward University, Malaysia. Today I'm also representing Society of Engineering Education Malaysia. Actually, I mean, being a top university, we hear a lot about ranking and stuff. Either it's good or bad, it's not for me to judge. I think all the panels have covered that. But I think, in my opinion, to be a top university in the world, first and foremost, you have to build up your identity. And I think IR 4.0 is a good platform, if we can tackle it correctly, to launch us, to create our identity for the future generation. Especially in terms of employability, the way that we create our graduates to become resilient, adaptable, and stuff like that. I wonder, being a roundtable of VC, is IR 4.0 is being used to create actually your institutions to create its own identity for, of course, if you have a good identity, you can be a top university.
Thank you for the question, sir. Prof. Graham wants to answer it.
Yeah, thanks for that question. I think you're right. A university needs an identity, and we spend a lot of time, as other universities do, talking about what is our identity, and we use words such as global and international and et cetera, because you want to differentiate yourself. And places like MIT do that. I mean, everyone knows what MIT stands for, everyone knows about Stanford. But I don't think IR4 is what to hang your hat on, or the peg to hang your hat on. And I talk as a computer scientist, so I would argue I know about data analytics and AI and all of that stuff, but it is just a phase in life, and it will change. And if we hang our hat on for IR4, Nottingham, Heriot Watt will start talking about IR5. You want to differentiate from everyone else. And if I do a quick survey of this room and say, how many of you want to do big data, analytics, machine learning, AI, everybody will put your hand up, because you have to. You have to be involved in IR4, or at least look as if you are. So you can't carve out an identity on IR4, because everyone wants to do it or is doing it. And as soon as everyone's doing it, then everyone moves to IR5 and IR6 and then the next phase that comes along. So I don't think that IR4 is the thing that universities should actually build their brand on.
Okay. One last question, please. Anybody? Okay. This will be the last one.
Thank you all. I just have one question, which is regarding the corporate backing universities, like BCG is starting their own university. We heard that McKinsey is doing the same thing. and they don't have ranking, but they're still on the top of everything. How do you think that challenge is going to affect you, especially in the postgraduate and the executive programs? Thank you.
End of the day, I think McKinsey built his brand through its people. Its people that's able to provide the kind of solution for the various clients it has. I think it's a combination of both know-whom and know-how over the years. McKinsey didn't come up just like that. It's over the years, and they were the game changers in their early days. You're looking at what, 30 to 40 years, and so on. But McKinsey is not the only one. There are a lot of other great management consultants around the world, and we need to recognize that. But if you go back to what makes them great, I would think that it is the people that they have and the leadership that they have able to build over the years.
I just want to say that ranking doesn't necessarily mean quality, number one. Number two, as an educational institution, if you don't compromise on quality, and it's a very difficult thing not to compromise on when you're in a private university, when you're talking about dollars and cents, when you tell the student, you will actually throw them out of the program. But luckily, many of the presidents of the university also realize the importance of quality. And when you stress on quality, years down, once the student is graduated, they come back to tell you, I'm so glad that you were so tough on me. Because if you were not tough on me, I wouldn't be where I am today. And that's number one. The second factor is, again, it's your students. It's the output from the organization. What that output actually does. When students go out, when they go for job interviews in their own home countries, because we have foreign students coming from developing countries, and they feel, oh, we only went to a small university in Malaysia, and there are these guys coming in from, with the American degrees and British degrees. Do we stand a chance? And then they come and proudly tell you, Prof, do you know I actually got the job based on the kind of training that your university gave me? So it's the kind of product that actually comes out of the university. Even in top-ranked universities, where is the graduate unemployment coming from? It is normally coming from the big public universities in the various countries. They're producing graduates that are not marketable. There are 4 jobs in a certain discipline. They produce 7,000 graduates. What are the rest of them going to do when there are no jobs? So it is basically the product, the quality, and of course, my students go and complain. I was told this by my own boss, that students have gone to him and complained about me being very strict.
Okay,
thank you for that. Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just a short point. I think big companies have got the capacity to do a very good job because of specific niche areas. They don't just do everything and anything. They just specialize in their niche areas and they do a good job. So the products can be very good, even offering master's degrees and so on.
Okay, I think we really have to stop here because I have been signaled to stop. I'll just summarize it this way. I don't think all the universities in Malaysia should go for ranking. But I certainly feel that those universities that receive a lot of research funding should actually think about it. Because I think it will be a very disastrous situation if none of the Malaysian universities are ranked. That will be very bad. So I think universities that has received huge grants from the government for research and so on should go for it. The rest, I think you should do a good job of making sure that your product actually is needed by the market, which is extremely important, and to train a good human resource. That I think is the conclusion from all this. And good luck to the universities who wants to go for ranking, and good luck to those who don't want. Thank you very much.